Hello everyone, my name is Nick and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2. This is the sequel slash follow-up video to the video I made where I used ChatGPT to design a rocket in Kerbal Space Program 2. There was a lot of people that were interested in that video, a lot of feedback and responses. And one of the things that you guys asked me to do was to kind of give ChatGPT some feedback and to tell it how its design did so it could have a chance to revise it. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. And as you can see here, I've got ChatGPT pulled up and I have our old design. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell it how the launch went and I'm going to ask it to revise some of the biggest issues. And then we're going to build the rocket and see what happens. So for one thing, let's begin just by telling ChatGPT that it has a few issues with this design. You'll have to forgive me, I'm overcoming a bit of a cold. So let's say there are a few issues with the design that you created. First, the crew capsule only accommodates 2 people, not 10. Not 20. And then I will tell it to please modify your design. I can't type today, I guess, so that it accommodates 10 people. I also would like to note that the reason that its design didn't reach orbit was most likely because I followed a horrible flight pattern. You're supposed to do a burn until your apoapsis is like 80,000 meters or greater, and then you cut the engines, get to that apoapsis, and then burn prograde at the apoapsis to actually get into orbit. I did not do any of that. I just burned the engines pretty much infinitely until we got into like this huge orbit and I couldn't get into orbit, but again, that was my fault. So let's see. So it says, my apologies for the mistake. Here's a modified design that includes a larger crew capsule to accommodate 10 passengers. Okay. Well, there's one problem with this that I see already. It just has one crew cabin. Again, so it didn't get that it made a mistake, which is not encouraging. So I'm gonna tell it this has the same issue. The crew cabin does not accommodate 10 people. Please modify the design so that 10 people fit on board. And then I also want to try to ask it to modify some of the staging features. Okay, so let's see if we get any difference here. If we don't get any difference, I have to just move on and accept that it's set in its ways and it's not willing to change for me. Okay, so we got the crew module. Make sure to this is very funny. Maybe I'm the one who's wrong here, but I can't just set the crew capacity to 10 in the module settings. I can't just do that, but okay. So let's see, what else do we want it to change? Launch the rocket from the launch pad. So activate the Separatron solid rocket boosters to help separate the first stage from the second stage. So someone said something super helpful about this as well. So the idea with this is not another set of boosters for our rocket. It's so that the Separatron boosters push our empty solid fuel boosters away from our craft so that it doesn't, it doesn't hit the main body of the spaceship. Okay, start second engine and continue the ascent until the rocket reaches. Okay, let's ask it to modify it in some way. So modify this design so that it is capable of gliding back to the planet I don't know. I'm trying to give it a novel task, see how it responds. We'll need to add wings to the rocket. Obviously. Let's see where it actually has us put these wings. So another follow-up video that I'm going to be doing to this is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to design a plane to reach Mach 5. I have not been able to do that manually myself yet. But who knows, maybe it'll know how to do it. This is not promising, but let's see what we got here. So as the module descends, blah, blah, blah. So it changed our descent pattern. And let's see where it had us activate the wings. So attach 2 delta wing parts to the bottom of the crew module to provide lift during crew descent. Attach 4 elevons to the delta wings to provide pitch and roll control during the ascent. Okay. So we've got some modifications here. It didn't get the 10 crew capacity thing unless I can actually just change it, which would be so funny. And we got some wings. So partly on account of how poorly my last flight pattern went, I'm going to give this design another chance. I'm going to follow the proper flight pattern. We're going to see if this thing works. And I'm going to take a gander and say it probably will. Alright guys, so we're back in the vehicle assembly building in Kerbal Space Program. And here we are with ChatGPT's rocket. Now, since it seemed to be not super receptive to our feedback, there's not many changes going on here. Couple quick things to note before we take this thing to the runway. The crew capsule, you cannot just adjust the crew capacity. I wish that was how it worked. That would be cool. And something tells me that just throwing wings on the crew capsule, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good idea to me, honestly. Maybe I'm wrong and this is the most brilliant recovery system ever, but we're gonna find out. So let me just make sure our staging is correct here. So we want to, okay, first it's the solid rocket boosters. So these need to go to the very bottom. Then the Separatrons go, oh boy, I gotta figure this out. Decouple should go up here. And then, so solid. And then this goes here. And then this, yeah. And this gets its own, bear with me guys, sorry. This gets its own stage. The staging always takes me a minute. So this and this can be same stage, and then we decouple those, and then we decouple that. And then our parachute is last to activate. Keeping it on there in case of emergency, but not anticipating we're going to need it. This should go... Actually, yeah, so let's add a stage here. Add a stage. Add liquid fuel booster, and then decouple, and then activate. Okay. So, actually, this needs to happen here. Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a try, guys. Let's see what happens. Also going to save it just to be safe. Call it ChatGPT Rocket. And the vehicle name, ChatGPT Rocket. I also want to say that this is... I'm playing this right after the launch of the second patch for the game, and I've noticed a lot of stability improvements and just like FPS improvements. Like, this is running a lot smoother than it did last time. But without further ado, let's give the ChatGPT Rocket its second chance. I'm skipping the countdown. Let's go for it. Alright. I'm wondering how these wings are going to affect our... Well, that answers that question. Is it an SAS problem? Like... Okay. So it's got a case of the spinnies. Let's jettison our boosters next chance we get. Okay, there we go. Fire! Wait, I'm confused. Why? Okay, I'm just confused in general. Let's revert to the vehicle assembly building. I think that the wings messed it up. I think the wings messed it up, guys. So maybe I could we have two options here. I can make them smaller, which is lame, or I can just get rid of them altogether. You know what? I want to give ChatGPT a fair shot, and in my last video, I botched the ascent profile myself. So let's just see if this rocket can make it to orbit successfully. Give it the chance it always deserved. Pretty stable ascent. Looking beautiful. Let's begin to pitch east. So we're gonna watch that apoapsis this time around. Pitch a little more. We're going for about 10 degrees here. And again, to those of you that commented tips and tricks, especially to help me get the ascent profile correct, thank you. Big help. I don't claim to be good at this game. I just claim to be enjoying it. And as always, any tips and stuff in the comments are super appreciated. This thing is going along just fine. Let's wait. Where's the? Wait a minute. Did the SRBs not have radial decouplers? Guys, this is unacceptable. Man, it really is operator error. I mean, seriously. So I'll add the radial decouplers, and then we should be good to go. I could have sworn we had them. We don't. That's crazy. We'll just do these small ones, and we need to do 4 symmetry. Wait, is that it? No. I was like, is this a radial decoupler? It's not. There we go. Okay. For realsies this time. And let me make sure. Yeah. So this gets its own stage, the second stage. Okay. Alright, guys. We got this. We got this. This one's for all the marbles, as they say. It's a pretty nice looking rocket. I gotta admit the ChatGPT color scheme looks pretty good on this one. Let's pitch east. It seems faster. I wonder if the redesign. That doesn't make any sense though. It doesn't make any sense. Get to 10 degrees. That's right about right. And then we just wait for these to run out. We're gonna jettison them. Watch the Kerbal Space Center get smaller below us. We've broken the sound barrier. Getting ready here and let them off. Activate next engine. Full throttle, full speed ahead with this huge fuel tank. So again, we're looking for that apoapsis to hit 80,000 meters. I think technically it's 70,000 to get into orbit, but we want to exceed that. So watch that go up. We can speed up time just a little bit. Pitch further this way, but not too far. Okay, perfect. Watching the world get smaller below us. So cool. Bill Kermit in the cockpit. Wait, can we see him? Does he have a window? Oh, I guess he doesn't. Oh wait, unless that's him. That definitely is. Okay, getting up near 40,000. Still got plenty of fuel. We could probably use a little more thrust with this, but it's fine because we're accelerating pretty significantly and our apoapsis is rising. Again, looking for like 80,000 and then we'll pitch east, or rather point completely prograde, and then yeah, so there's 70,000. So once we hit 80, we're just gonna throttle down. There it is, 80,000 meters. So the correct pattern that I did not follow is once you reach your apoapsis, which we are getting close to. Will it let me turn? Yeah, okay, very slowly. Once you reach your apoapsis, you burn prograde, which essentially is just in the direction of the horizon. And that serves to extend your orbital path out further. Not radially. There's a different word for it. That's the correct one. If we could stabilize here. So, yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Overshot it a little. It's a little unsteady. It's fine. So we're hitting that apoapsis now. We're going to do a burn. Perfect on the horizon there. Beautiful. And now we watch as our orbit path, I guess, gets wider. Not down. Do not burn down. We do not want to go back to the surface. And now at some point, we're actually losing altitude, which we don't want, so I am going to point us up just a little bit. But at some point, we will see this orbit expand so much so that we are actually in orbit. It'll go around the planet. We're about to get a lot later. So let's do this here. We're climbing again. That's fine. So we're going to activate and decouple. Yes, that looks good. Running out of fuel. Almost done. Once this is done, we jettison this stage and move on to the next. Normally you do that much earlier in the process, but we have so much fuel in this fuel tank thanks to ChatGPT that we didn't even need to. There we go. There's our little dude. So technically, okay. The way I have it set up, probably should use the separatrons first, and then the liquid fuel. So if we look at our orbit right now, we're pretty close to being in orbit around Kerbin. We can use the liquid fuel for our deorbiting burn. Okay, just gonna hit play and point this thing right towards the horizon. Right about here. And turn SAS on. And go. And since we're so late, the separatrons actually are pretty helpful. So now liquid fuel. Without breaking anything? Are we out? Are we out of fuel? We are. We are out of fuel. So our other stage used all of our liquid fuel. That's crazy. I didn't even realize. Okay, okay. So once again, either by operator error or because of design features, we're not in a technically stable orbit. We've just made it to space here. So I am going to just spin Bill and oh, the parachute's coming off until we hit the ground here. Okay, actually that's gonna take quite some time. Let's take a moment to appreciate the beautiful graphics. So pretty. Watching the sun, or Kerbal, I guess, fall behind the horizon. This game really is pretty, even if it doesn't work well yet. It's extremely nice to look at. So yeah, that was a failed launch. But I want to talk about how ChatGPT approached this problem and whether or not I think it solved it. So for one thing, ChatGPT doesn't know about things that happened after 2021 by and large, which means that it knows about Kerbal Space Program, the original, but it doesn't know about Kerbal Space Program 2. Which means that if there are any tweaks to parts that were made between the first and second game, it has no way of knowing like what those tweaks are and how they might affect the design. Secondly, it doesn't have any way, at least as far as I know, to generate like an image or a visual aid, or literally to say like, here is what your craft should look like. So it's obviously limited by that. I also want to say that I think its ability to take not criticism but feedback is one of its weak points right now. For example, the crew capsule thing, right? We told it doesn't fit 10 crew members, and it said, I'm sorry, just change the size of the crew capsule, which obviously is something that we can't do. But overall, and this is just my general opinion on AI, so if you're just here for the Kerbal Space Program content, you can hop right out. But I think that using AI like ChatGPT as a tool to augment human innovation and human design ability is like just the perfect way to use it, because in this case, it gave us a skeleton. If I was a more skilled player of the game, I could probably modify this craft so that it was a really good rocket to reach orbit. And all in all, its ability to design something that even remotely worked is shocking. I mean, and really, really impressive. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video on Kerbal Space Program and ChatGPT. Definitely going to be revisiting this concept. I want to ask it to do more specific mission-oriented tasks to see kind of where the limit of its design knowledge is. And I'm also curious if it's able to take maybe some real-world understanding of like how aerodynamics works and apply it to the game. So stay tuned for those ideas. As always, if you liked the video, please leave a like. Please subscribe, helps me out big time. And if you're enjoying the content, you probably should anyway. But that's it for this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.